A magic song. Doesn't sound good. You know, when we sing together, we breathe together. So good to be with all of you here. Welcome. Well, a little girl was visiting her grandparents, and she was sitting at the kitchen table, and she was bent over a picture, and she was drawing a nativity scene very intently. Mary and Joseph and Jesus, baby Jesus, and an animal there. And she was so proud of it. When she finished, she popped up and marched it over to her grandfather and said, "Look, Grandpa." And he said, "Oh, Susie, that's excellent. But why is one of St. Joseph's legs longer than the other?" She said, "Oh, Grandpa, he's stamping his foot because he wanted a girl." So welcome to week 2 of our Advent journey. So we carry on the hope and faith from last week into this week's marination of Christ's quality of peace. And one thing I love about Advent is that we join millions around the world who are focusing on the same thing. So right now, around the world, people are focusing on peace. Isn't that wonderful? So to allow us to settle into that more deeply, let's begin with some affirmations. And I will say them first, and then I'll ask us to affirm them together. On this day of Advent, my faith in infinite good opens my ears, eyes, and heart. My faith is magnetic to wholeness, wellness, love, and abundance. I am a lighthouse of peace, beaming hope into the world. I envision the blessing of peace flowing through the hearts, minds, and experiences of all people everywhere. I am a grounding point for miraculous energy to express. Okay, together, on this day of Advent, together, my faith in infinite good opens my ears, eyes, and heart. My faith is magnetic to wholeness, wellness, love, and abundance. I am a lighthouse of peace, beaming hope into the world. I envision the blessing of peace flowing through the hearts, minds, and experiences of all people everywhere. And I am a grounding point for miraculous energy to express. Let's just breathe into that for a minute. Yeah. Do you notice how that feels? This peace is an inside job, isn't it? It's with our thoughts, our feelings, our intention, and it's a vibration that travels out as a soothing balm. So the Hebrew word for peace, shalom, in its root means wholeness, completeness, and soundness. So when we're in this vibration of peace, no matter what is going on, we're living from our wholeness, our completeness, our soundness. So nothing's missing. Nothing's missing. Just breathe into your wholeness right now. Your completeness. Your soundness. And this is a spiritual truth and a portable grace that we can return to and take with us throughout the day. So what is your version or vision of peace? Does something come to mind? Well, there was once a king who offered a prize to the painter who could paint him a perfect picture of peace. And there were many entries, but two stood out in his mind that he had to choose from. And the first one was a picture painting of a green mountains and a very calm lake, blue sky with puffy clouds. And everyone agreed that looked like a very peaceful place. And then the second painting also had mountains, but they were bare and ragged. And the sky was gray and zigzagged with lightning and slicing rain, waterfalls tumbling down. And that picture did not look peaceful at all. Well, the king looked a little bit more closely, and he saw behind one of the waterfalls there was a mother bird had built a nest and was sitting on a branch under the waterfall with a nest. So which picture do you think he chose? Yeah, the second one, yeah, with the mother bird. And he explained that peace does not mean being in a place where there's no trouble, toil, or turmoil. Rather, it means having serenity in your heart in the midst of all those things. So haven't we had a lot of practice this year? Returning again and again to that little warm nest, that place of peace, that place of peace. And, you know, thinking about the year too, the year also, that even with the, you know, there's always sweet and sour that we deal with, right? And I don't know about you, but this year I'm feeling like there's more aliveness, there's more awareness, there's more aliveness, there's more consciousness that is rising, more light that is rising amid the cracked open chaos that may be visible out there. There's light rising, there's life rising. Yeah. So what if 2023 was the year of more peace? More peace. Because we remember that we are powerful beings. You are a powerful co-creator with the ability to think and feel and shape substance from an idea and bring it into form, from the formless into form. And you do this all the time, and you've done this already. Think about all the great things in your life. Yeah. And we forgive ourselves for the not so great things that we created by being unconscious. But we know that we do have that power. So this can be a year, I see this as a year of acceleration of co-creation. So why not create something good, something really good? Who's up for that in their life? Creating something good with that acceleration of co-creation with that energy. So we know that when we set the intention for anything, don't be surprised if its opposite shows up. Have you noticed how that tends to happen? And if the opposite does show up, not to be alarmed, because this is part of the process of building spiritual muscle, right? It's almost like, well, we declare, I want more peace in my life, and the universe says, you do? Okay, let's expand your capacity here for peace, and you did so well with this situation, let's go over here and see how you do with this one. But it's like building spiritual muscle, like doing more reps, you know. Oh, there's another weight on the rep. Oh, okay, Spirit, help me here. So we know how this happens, you know. We can leave the house just prayed up, and if we're not paying attention, or maybe we forgot to eat breakfast, and our bodies, you know, need something, our peace can just kind of, you know, it can be easy to let it slip a little bit, you know, when someone says something that hits a nerve, or someone cuts you off in traffic, Or you're at a family situation and a relative brings up that old embarrassing family story where you were the star. I have a couple of those. Anybody else? That I have conveniently forgotten about, but other people haven't. So, and be very world about how much media we ingest, because it's easy to lose our peace with that, right? When we see actors on the world stage doing these unbelievable things, things we can't control, really. So, how do you hold on to your peace when things are churning? Well, we know we can go to prayer, right? Go to prayer. Call silent unity. Call a friend and pray. And I like what author Iyanla Van Zandt has. She has an acronym for the word peace. Oh, we'll come back to that. Please excuse all crazy experiences. To excuse those anxious shoppers, the person who cuts you off, the rushed, chaotic energy, to see beyond the craziness. It's like that king looking at the painting. Peace requires to take a little closer look, All this can be swirling, but to just breathe and just lean into the peace that is there, even if it's this big. So if we find ourselves getting caught up in it, we can just pause, breathe, let that energy just fly right on by, and choose peace. Choose peace. Because peace is found in the present moment, right? Usually times when we lose our peace, we're worried about something that's going to happen. This, and then that'll happen, and then that'll happen. So peace is in the present moment that is always available to us. So has anyone found themselves challenged this week with that? Yeah. Especially if we're on a roll, we're in a hurry, or we're just going along and then, boom, something slows us down. Yep. So, I had an experience this week with something that was challenging that usually is not a challenge for me, and that was getting air in my tires. And I have to let you know that, I am so good at handling big things that happen in life. But it's these little things like day to day that just challenge me, and I work with it as my spiritual growth. So I had that opportunity. The little light came on in the dash, and I looked it up. Okay, there it is. And now that I rely on my car so much and my commute, I thought this is really important. I have to take care of this. So after 3 gas stations, I found one that worked, but it had no gauge and the time ran out. I still had one more tire to do, And I thought, well, maybe 3 of them, they got fixed. No, the light was still on. So I was driving around town, and with each out-of-order sign at the gas station with the air pump, how do I have to pay for air now, too? I felt this fear escalating, the what-if fear thing going on, about my tires and myself being in peril, and you just got to cut that off as soon as you can, because it can get so creative. So finally, and I counted at the 6th gas station, and several dollars later, mission accomplished. But I had a moment, sometimes you just have to give yourself a timeout, just a timeout. So I sat in my car for a little bit, and I thought, oh, isn't this interesting? You're talking about peace this week. God, you are so funny. Okay. Breathing in the moment. Okay. You're mad about paying for air. I hear it. Okay. But what's more important, being right about that or just taking care of it, you know? So I decided that losing my peace anymore was not worth it. You know, it's just not worth it sometimes. So we can do that pattern, interrupt, and go to prayer, breathe, and then we can access that peace in the present moment. And we can vow that, your peace is more important than any irritation, any parking space, any little thing that comes up, because the Christ in you, your divine core, is undisturbed, unflappable. And the peace of Christ is one thought away. And I want to go back to this because it's like a little labyrinth of light to the center of light. And that's what our positive thoughts are and our prayers are, right? Those little points of light that lead us to the center, surrounded by light. So in times when peace may seem elusive or out of reach, prayers of surrender are often helpful. And we can pray a prayer of surrender. So I want to share with you the knot prayer, K-N-O-T. And if you have any knots that you'd like untied, you might want to just breathe, close your eyes, and let this prayer work in you. Loving God, I am willing. Untie the knots that are in my mind, my heart, and my life. Remove the have-nots, the cannots, and the do-nots. Erase the will-nots, the may-nots, the might-nots that may be tying up my heart. Release from me the could-nots, would-nots, and should-nots that obstruct my life. And most of all, loving God, I am willing. Remove from my mind, my heart, and my life all of the am-nots that I have allowed to hold me back. And I am willing to let your love do its perfect work. May I accept the truth about myself, no matter how beautiful it is. Amen. From Jesus, peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not let them be afraid. So the first people to know about Jesus' peace was the wise men. And as the story goes, they traveled afar. They sensed a great presence, and they followed that star that led them out of the east, clear across the desert, to arrive on the 12th night after Christmas. And so metaphysically, these wise men are like our good ideas in us. They're like our wisdom and our peace that is always there, that can never be lost, that always follows the light. And they travel from depths from within to bring gifts, answers to prayer, to honor the Christ within. And so this is our prayerful hope and mystery of Christmas, that our intentional travels will lead us to the light within for peace, illumination, and understanding. And to know that just as with the birth of Jesus, our own birth of the divine within, of the Christ within, is surrounded by angels, wise ones, and all manners of support. So angels may come in many forms. This story came out of Australia that I thought was fascinating, that I wanted to share with you. So this woman in Australia went to visit the horses at a local equestrian center. And I don't know if you can see, but she's in a wheelchair and she has cerebral palsy. So her body's nervous system misfires which causes abrupt movements in her body that she can't control. So the horses were all standing, but when they noticed her movements, her body just moving around, they all surrounded her and laid down around her, slowing their breathing, their heart rate. And they created this pulsing, resonant field of calm and caused her nervous system to calm down. And afterwards, she reported that her body's movements had calmed down significantly after sitting with the horses. Isn't that amazing? So this healing field of peace, we can give it to ourselves, we can bring it to others, we can let it find us in unexpected places. So peace is a vibration, a felt sense, a wholeness and completion, or completeness. And the peace that passes all understanding is a great mystery, but we can welcome it as a healing salve. Or I like to picture it like warm honey, just soothing any chafed places, like filling up those cracks and crevices and just smoothing out any raw places, comforting, healing. I have a vision of an English muffin. You know how it just kind of sinks into all the cracks and crevices. And so that peace we can allow to just sink into any cracks and crevices that we may notice. And just allow ourselves to be calmed and comforted and know we are loved, whole, and complete. So this week, why not be still and let peace find you? Thank you.